That's all right, mate.
I'm not used to casting, that's all it is.
You gotta be switched on, mate. Switched on is the server ready for this game. FaZe versus FNATIC. No big surprise to see 79% of you back in the Brazilian side to bring down FNATIC. But FNATIC has started a bit struggled at points, but as remarked, Jaxu, our second highest rated player, a true rookie, starting to shine bright. Is it enough to carry them through against the world champions? It feels like the answer should be no, but there have been stranger things happen in Siege.
There have been stranger things, like I said, happened today. Everybody would have thought that Team Liquid would have been going through. They did not. Eliminated earlier by none other than Kag. Could be in a similar position here. Bans start coming on through. I think we're going to see pretty much what we've been seeing consistently through the day on Night Haven, which is going to be double shield, double electric.
I think so, especially. I think from FNATIC point of view, they're looking at King. He is a terrific shield player. Obviously, it's going to be the Monty straight away, and we'll see what the next ban's going to be. Will it be a shield? Sure. Yes, it will. Blitz. So that only leaves open the Blackbeard. Now, of course, the Cade and the Mute ban. Night Haven's very much similar to Clubhouse. Walls are so important on on every single attack. You need to be getting as many walls as possible open. Get rid of the Cade, get rid of the Mute. Means they can only be bandit tricking. And of course, the benefit of that, you can kill somebody when they're bandit tricking.
Well, you can fail sometimes and get C4 trying to get through. We've seen a few teams really muck it up at points, but I think you are very right there, Fresh. You're seeing Deepak already in round one, jumping straight onto playing that bandit. We're kicking things off in the basement. A bit of a twist away from what we've seen so far, Tim. Most teams starting up on that second floor.
Yeah, it seems to be becoming a 50-50. The last game with G2, it was the same. The first site that we saw was down in the basement. Personally, I'm sort of leaning towards the same as I say on Cafe, not quite as strongly, but I prefer the basement, much like I prefer the kitchen on Cafe to the top floor. I'm not a fan of the top floor on Cafe. I'm not a big fan of the top floor here on Night Haven. The more that we see it, the more I see teams are just restricted by the lack of movement up there, the lack of
this is all waffle. You know, what he's really scared of here is heights, is what I'm hearing.
Nah, there's certainly been a switch though, because when this map first came out, like you say, it was the top floor. Teams didn't really roam on the basement, whereas they certainly will roam now. If you go direct, then obviously they've got the vertical to use back against you. And then with the top floor, teams have figured out how to attack that top floor and breaching, you know, two walls, and you can basically pinch through.
Who did KDS get tapped by the way?
I don't know. KDS has just taken a ton of damage there, especially on your Hibana. That's like the last thing you want. There's several things that you'd like to be breaching here, whether it be hatches, whether it be that double wall. You want to be getting something going on to open things up on this site, and losing KDS would be a big blow.
Good remark on Jegs, has not had the best tournament for himself so far. Again, all the praise has been layered onto Jaxu. The other J doing much more, and sure enough, it starts out that way. Cyber in with the entry and the Vigil offline.
I hope FaZe have got enough flashes.
I think they could do with it.
Can you imagine if there was still 3 on each operator?
Literally brought nothing else. They've got 10 flashes. Gruby is going to take down FNATIC, Jaxu Fantandi, and the fight back is on from FNATIC, managing to pick 2 up, and that leaves us with FaZe having to just rethink things a little bit here. We've still got 2 players from FNATIC out on the roam as well. Gruby on vending stairs, which is kind of a semi-roam, but Sarks all the way up in electrical, and with short in terms of numbers, FaZe might struggle to go and find him and track him down here.
Yeah, but however, the positioning is good. Cyber's up there on the top floor. KDS is cutting off the rotations back down. If they can identify and win these 1v1s, especially with that Dokkaebi call just coming out, they can level up the man count, and you'll see Cyber do that 3 versus 3.
Not too bad now, is it, hey? But KDS is a bullet from death at the same time. Won't take much to go his way to see him get knocked over. Of course, had a hangout for now, focusing on the hatch inside a garage. All 3 members of FaZe gathered around this part of the map, and you can see FNATIC just responding in kind, moving most of their players down in the basement, out towards EXO, just kind of giving ground over to FaZe here, but wanted to collapse on them when they start their push forward, and a C4 in back pocket for Deepak.
That Dokkaebi hack is going to be huge. There's 2 bulletproof cameras on the side of FNATIC that FaZe now will get access to, and they can pinpoint the locations of the defenders.
You see FNATIC on it as well inside a tank, keeping a close eye on what's happening. Of course, going to get shot out, I'd imagine. Indeed, taken out, so not too available to them anymore, but it has forced, of course, intel to now be taken away from FNATIC as well.
Yeah, FaZe in a position to start pushing on into site here. They've dropped the hatch, but they are facing up against those Goyo canisters, and that could be a real problem for them. Only 30 seconds left to go.
Oh,
have 10 or 15 seconds left. And burn time. Cyber somehow winning out and reacting. A fight he should have had no business coming out right on top of. Cyber gets another. Souls for the finish, and FaZe managed to get it done.
I'm buzzing because he's in my fantasy team. It's a great start. 4 kills for Cyber in round 1. But my God, you can't be letting that one slip away from you. Jaxu, for all the praise you've piled on him, Fresh, has crumbled there.
Yeah, he absolutely crumbled. He had the jump on Cyber. He was up the stairs. He saw him first, and Cyber managed to get that flick. And I will say, from FNATIC's point of view, as Tim goes to check his fantasy team, from FNATIC's point of view,
he's fuming that
I think what they needed to do was collapse onto Cyber or collapse onto the plant going down, not try and do both at the same time. And yeah, I've got a lot of praise for Jaxu. I've seen him up close and personal. You know, I think he's a great player, and finally getting a chance. But you need to be getting that kill.
What do you think we just discovered, Fresh, based on our pose then?
I have no idea.
He's also got Cyber in his fantasy.
Oh, you've both got Cyber.
Get in!
Big dogs all round.
Up to the top floor we go then, round 2. FNATIC just going to continue the rotation, as I've discussed a number of times, something that we see much more commonly from teams now. Don't worry about going back to a site they've lost, just move on with it, get on to the next one. Top floor, so we're going to see less of a map presence from FNATIC. As I've said previously, I kind of feel like defensive teams have fewer options up here than they do somewhere like basement. They're going to be playing their extensions, very limited, maybe Aqua, maybe interconnector, but probably not. It's going to mean that they're largely on site.
The problem with this top floor is very similar to Clubhouse CCTV top floor, is that once that main wall gets opened, which is the IT wall, that's the one that Handy's going towards so far and FaZe will be focusing on. Once this wall is open, the attackers can then focus on either Garage and then Top Fish, or Garage and then coming in from the meeting side across. Either way, you have a pinch. As defenders, you have nowhere to rotate to. You've just got to stay as sitting ducks, basically.
Here we go. We spoke about the power potential of this bandit. Oh, not too ideal there. The power potential of this bandit. C4 possibly being heading that way is also going to have some impact, but of course shocked out by the electric. Now a neutral element within the game will of course destroy any defender utility at the same time. As you've seen there, it's going to have no impact.
Yeah, it's nervous from FNATIC. You know, Jackson's playing the previous round was nervous. It's nervous there from Deepak going early with the C4 before he needed to.
Have that RT wall open then, so good access in towards site for FaZe already. The question is, where are they going to stack up? Souls is moving in towards connector at the minute, past meeting, so they are trying to surround, get at least a couple of angles of pressure here at least. Warehouse, of course, always a big point for contention. Depends whether they go for it or not. At the minute, FaZe haven't sort of committed any utility over towards that side. It's all IT, electrical, connector.
Sarks was feeling a little bit cheeky then, I think, but knew for himself that once the C4 had come out, a drone was no doubt to follow at some point. They'd know where he was, and he's basically dead to rights. Has got away and got a kill onto Souls. Not bad. Jaxu a second, shaking off the nerves of last round to bring things into a 5v3 for FNATIC. But we've been here before, Fresh.
Yeah, that's going to be the big thing for FNATIC. Can they hold out? Can they go and find more kills? And that's exactly what will happen. Turn it into a 4 versus 2. And it's all going to be a one-sided push now for Handy going in through IT.
It's happening again. They're starting to crumble right towards the end of the round. Still got a numbers advantage for now. KDS yet to find himself on the scoreboard in this game. Both players from FaZe gathered here inside of IT. Diffuser is often connected, so they've got some work to do here. Can either opt to back out and recover the Diffuser or push in and look for kills. Looking at where Handy's stepping across to, it feels like recovering the Diffuser might be on the cards.
Yeah, Jegs, Jaxu and Deepak all inside of the A site at the minute, playing quite closely to each other, but at least with an opportunity to play off each other's deaths if FaZe manage to get in and find a shot. 25 seconds left to go. That's not going to help them. Deepak manages to pick up a big kill onto KDS. That's Diffuser down again. 15 seconds. Handy just needs to play for kills here. Has to push in, but the bullets are raining in from every side. It's Deepak. Moves his position onto Catwalk. Finds the final kill. And FNATIC level up 1-1.
Yeah, that round was realistically over as soon as that big double kill happened. The first one coming out of Sarks, the second one coming out of Jaxu. And I really liked how they changed the angles of engagement out there onto the meet inside breach. It was really, really nice in connector. They got that 5 versus 3. I did worry a little bit when they pushed out of the breach to try and find more, because I thought, hey, they're giving the opening. But they got the round done in the end, all stacking up inside of command.
Down to the base we go then for round 3. You're going to see that repeat coming out. I think for FaZe at the end of that round, a little bit probably stuck and a bit static as well. Not quite sure. Do we go for Diffuser here? Do we push in and go for kills? You had Handy stepping out. You had the smokes going down elsewhere. It was a little bit disjointed, but still early game as well. Let's not forget. Still plenty of time to shake off their own nerves here. FaZe, yes, Cyber started out strong. The rest really waiting to see them play into this game a bit more.
For what it's worth, FNATIC have actually controlled both of the rounds. It was only a big cyber play that actually got it over the line the last time for FaZe. I think if you, each team from FaZe's point of view, were going back down to the basement. They want to be clearing the roam out much more effectively, not ending up in man disadvantage. For FNATIC, I think just know when to get aggressive, I think is the big one. And also for Jegs, don't give away your life as a freebie, because he gave it away in the last round. He was the opening pick on that boss G.
Jegs on the vigil this time, up on that top floor, a basement site again. So FNATIC trying to stretch the play, trying to waste as much time as they can from FaZe. Just give them a little mini game, a little puzzle to work through. Where is the vigil? Of course, the effect of that vigil cloak is kind of spherical, so you can pick it up from a floor below, wherever your drone is. It can be difficult sometimes to just pinpoint exactly where they're located.
Cyber's changed off the book this time, going onto the IQ, and of course we've seen already at this tournament how well IQs can deal with Vigil. So what they'll benefit in being able to find the Vigil with Cyber, they'll actually lose from the verticality that they don't have on the book anymore.
Haven't even brought along the impact charges to help out on that as well, one thing worth noting, but instead they've gone in towards the Ram. Also got to pay respect towards the Valkyrie of Sarks coming out here. Imagine that is what has triggered the change away. Almost will be surprised at some level to see that band away as the next defending operator at the end of this round. Deepek's going to fall on with Goyo. Spoke about this before, not the end of the world to lose, but I think losing the Goo Mine to the Legion, that's more of a problem. Jaxu also falling down. FaZe in full control of this round. Jegs might start the fight back, but these two players here, Tim, are stuck at the bottom of Aqua with nowhere to go. Cyber into a double, Plant going down. This one is done and dusted unless Sarks can work some magic.
Yeah, it's going to be too little too late from FNATIC. They're not sure FaZe exactly where Sarks is, so he gets the first, but he's not going to get any more because now they're aware of his position. The diffuser's down. FaZe are too smart a team to give him any opportunity in this. They know they don't need to. He finds the first, but the other two, FNATIC Souls, have separated. They are just going to wait for him to have to go in. They're going to play the clock. As soon as he needs to go near that diffuser, they'll go and have a look. They've got the vertical, and this is going to be a difficult one for Sarks. Nothing he could do. FNATIC closes it out, and Jegs on the vigil, a little bit quiet in that round. It's always the risk when you're out on a roam on an operator like that you just get left out in the cold and you leave it too long to try and make that impact.
How many times have you done that in ranked when you're playing Vigil yourself, Tim?
Oh, so many
times.
You're out
miles away from the site and everyone's dead in sight.
All them times that I've
He's usually the guy in sight that's getting taken out, and handle one on Vigil, nowhere near.
That sounds a lot more like what.
In fairness, for FaZe Clan, they ignored the top floor, they went in the mid floor, they won their fights, they didn't even need to trade anything out. You know, if you look where they're going, they're attacking into the middle floor of the map there. They really separated the top floor roamers, the basement, you know, the site bunkers, and they cleared the roam out from the middle floor, which is not necessarily conventional, but it worked perfectly that round.
Good, comfortable round. The Bandit is being the interesting band for me. I honestly thought we'd see the Valkyrie coming away, but clearly know they're going back on towards these sites, expecting to see more Bandit tricking coming out, and just simply don't want to deal with it. It means they haven't got to worry about bringing along the Maverick in this case, but instead play more towards their own comp. But granted, if you see a Valkyrie again, there's probably also going to be seeing Cyber back on the IQ.
You like the Bandit ban? I like the Twitch ban. Twitch ban straight away coming out of FNATIC, and obviously that means they can play two key operators now for their defenses. First and foremost, the mirror. There's no risk against the mirror windows other than Ash charges, of course, and Kelly charges. And you can also play the Goyo, which is something they've tried playing on the basement that hasn't worked particularly well so far.
So just going to give them that availability. This time it looks like it's a process of slowing down FaZe as much as they can. They've got the FNATs, they've got the Goo Mines, they've got that denial. Take away the drones with the Mozzie. Just starve FaZe both of intel and of time and make them have to take risks, make them have to go in and take those gunfights.
Been on handy here as well, running around on that Deimos, paired up with the Lion. It could be a Dockerbee, either or, work pretty well. Great for hunting and forcing these members of FNATIC back, and I imagine at this point they're a little bit fed up of seeing the amount of roam play coming out from FNATIC. Jegs consistently getting out around the map, trying to be a spot of bother. Not really doing too well in that endeavour, but I think just paying some respect. They don't want to find themselves getting blindsided by members of FNATIC who are creeping up stairways, hiding away in corners, basically trying to make FaZe's like life a living hell, sorry.
With this bomb site as attackers, you've got to try and control the top floor and the bottom floor. You've got to keep defenders out of vertical lines of sight, basically, of the bomb site. You want them anywhere else but directly above and below the bomb site. That's why you're seeing FaZe put some pressure on breaching onto this IT wall, because it's directly above that B bomb site.
Cyber is currently stood on the breach as well, looking potentially to push in through IT and apply some direct pressure. There's at least 3 members of FNATIC up on that top floor, so a real investment of utility up there. Mirror windows, everything to try and support them. They are aware of Cyber's position. Groovy manages to catch him on the swing. Deepek finds KDS as well, and all of a sudden FNATIC 5 versus 3 and a solid start to the round.
What do you make of that one, Freshie?
I think FNATIC are actually really going aggressive as much as they possibly can. They're certainly not giving FaZe any respect as, you know, with respect to gunfights themselves. FNATIC want to be in as many as possible. They win both of them, and they change FaZe's attack entirely. FaZe just now have to go for it and try and go together. Because they can't set themselves up for an execute, they don't have the manpower to do so.
Which is funny, really, because with having the Deimos and the line on side, as I was speaking about at the round start, you'd expect them to have some good control over what's happening out on their own, but instead they've been pushed back almost doubly forcefully what you would expect, and FNATIC have shut that down before it can even really get started. Plenty of hard recovery effort to go through now. FNATIC can just step back, play as a group here. We've only got 45 seconds to work with, and there's still a lot they can use with the now. Gumar's behind them, of course, got C4s they can use at the same time.
And here's the big thing. If FaZe go to the bomb site, FNATIC can retake the top floor. If FaZe keep people upstairs when they go for the execute, FNATIC can flood from the bomb site. Plant's going down, though.
30 seconds.
Do they know?
He's going to hold on to it. Backs off because Jaxu is in position to deal with it. As you said, quite rightly, Fresh, FNATIC have got all the positions and all the answers that they need. 2 versus 4 as they manage to pick up Sarks, but again, it looks like it's going to be too little too late for FaZe. VictorKing manages to find one. Jaxu onto Handy. 3 versus 1 now. VictorKing with it all to do, gets the diffuser, but with 4 seconds, he doesn't have a hope for this one.
No, Handy really needed to win that fight against Jaxu, or just not get sucked into the gunfight, but by dying to him, Storage is completely off bounds to them. It's a shame because Handy had a real good fight of control, taking out one of the flanking players coming on through. It was a great read into what he knew FNATIC was going to employ next, but I think Jaxu, again, just in a brilliant position there and gave nothing to FaZe.
That's the big problem. As soon as you plant in, that's then, what, a 2 versus 5 in terms of guns up. You've got to hold both entrances into site. You've got to hold the vertical above and getting pressured from the vertical. You've got to hold C4s from below, all kinds of utility. And especially when you've got Handy there, you know, holding into the other site itself, somebody's going to come from somewhere that will deny that plant, and that's exactly what happened.
Well, FNATIC bring things up to 2 apiece. FaZe start to sweat at this point a little bit. It's not the end of the world, dropping down 2 rounds on your attacking half, but it could easily become 3-3 and suddenly you never know what's coming.
I think from a FaZe point of view, the one thing they really need to control is FNATIC's aggression. When FNATIC have won rounds, it's come at the cost of big double kills coming out of nowhere, where they wouldn't necessarily expect FNATIC to go and get aggressive. Once they start controlling that, and they did start playing the Lion, the Deimos, the Dokkaebi, if they can get a grip on that, they can really proceed with these attacks.
They've tried to do that right in the previous round. We spoke about the Deimos and the Lion coming along as a pairing, and they still got absolutely wiped out by FNATIC swinging onto really what were entry points into the building, giving them almost no room. This round stepping away from that a little bit, instead trusting in the trusty old shield of Blackbeard to be their spearhead into the map, Tim.
I think a 3-3 would be fine for FaZe. FNATIC, it's a map that they don't normally play. Get them on the attack here, and I think we maybe start to see them struggle a little bit more. That's when they've really got a problem solved, and FaZe can choose the gunfights that they take a little bit more. So it's not, I don't think, going to be an easy second half for FaZe. FNATIC, sorry. I think a 4-2 is going to be more what they're looking for. Have FaZe working immediately towards that RT wall. We have the Tubarão come out though. The Zoto canister will prevent that breach at least for a little while.
FNATIC have brought 4 C4s on this strategy, which I kind of like, apart from the fact that FNATIC have been dreadful so far in their 4 defenses with C4s. We've seen a lot of them thrown out and none of them connect. But good job, because Groovy can just hit the headshots.
Get onto a Blackbeard no less as well. But
there's one C4 gone.
It's really not the dream that you want. Again, that was spearheading this attack, and now instead going to have to lean into Souls either exploding forward on the Ash, not what he's known for, or something special coming out of Cyber playing on this Grim, but neither feel like a massive reality you can lean on. Handy at least getting a kill back. Groovy, the assailant of VictorKing, taken off the map.
4 versus 4 then, as FNATIC just try to absorb some of this pressure for the time being. Again, FaZe all kind of stacking up from that same side. It's IT, it's going to be towards Connector once the Ash of Souls starts moving. That's the side that he's on. No real pressure at the minute towards Warehouse or towards Top Aqua, and that allows FNATIC to just front up that one problem to focus on it. This is better. KDS, get up those Warehouse stairs, take over Catwalk, and give FNATIC something else to think about.
They invested so much in getting IT control as well. They're completely out of Grimbees. They were all deployed by Cyber just to get control of this small slither of the map. Souls, as you can see on the other screen, by the way, is lurking out towards meeting Cyber, but he's got to come a little bit quicker to capitalize on this. Cyber has got rid of Jegs. That will open things up, but now it's a bit of a stalemate whilst we watch the Tuber out hold that wall down from the ace. Deepek steps out and gets one, but now he's cut down two. We're into a 2 versus 2. Sarks and Jaxu to hold on.
45 seconds left to go. It could be a length of time to hold, but Sarks manages to pick up Souls. Handy, he's making a smart choice here, I think, in getting Cyber back on his feet. Doesn't want to have himself in that 1v2. He's got the time to do it, and a little bit of safety there. Sarks with the rotation, just a second too late. Misses his man going out of the window. 20 seconds left to go, and Handy, it swings again after picking up Cyber. He finds a kill, and all of a sudden, it's all up to Sarks. 1 versus 2. He knows that there's one. He's going to rotate through IT, but that will be his undoing.
The biggest benefit from FNATIC for them winning their defensive rounds has been that aggression, but not in that round again. It started very much when Grubbu sat safe behind his Fenrir gadget, swings out, makes himself a freebie on the breach, and then again in that late round. FNATIC twice in the late round messing it up. Guys, they've got to attack into you. They've got to get the plant down. You don't have to peek them. Jaxu was in a 1 versus 1. Sarks was in a 1 versus 1. Just hold, because they've got to come into you. Jaxu didn't, lost the 1 versus 1, makes it 1 versus 2, and they lose it from that.
It's the second round this half now where you'd look at it and say FNATIC could have won. They could have been up 4-1 here, if not for a Cyber 4K, and frankly, bottling here what felt like a very winnable situation. That kill onto Souls meant that Sarks was going dark. They had no idea where he was going to be. Handy winning that 1v1 was what completely changed how it played out. And Sarks, to be fair to him, I think he played the end of that 1 versus 2 pretty well, was trying to isolate out of 1 versus 1, but Handy, he's far too experienced. He gave nothing until Cyber arrived, and you saw how things closed out. I think it's more of a experience thing from FaZe here is really showing in these big clutch situations that FNATIC simply don't have the experience of playing out.
Yeah, I think they know that as much as they can test FNATIC, take it into the late round, test them, make them nervous, make them make the first move, and then punish them. You know, that's exactly what they're doing. Like you say, FNATIC could be 4-1 up if they'd have just played that late round effectively, and you kind of accept it a little bit because it's a couple of rookies, but let's remember, their tournament is on the line. If they lose this, they will be eliminated.
Final defensive round coming up for FNATIC then. You feel like this is a must-win, surely.
Yeah.
Fresh 3-2 down. They need to at least get an even split before they go on to the attack, because this isn't going to get any easier in the second half.
And they're going back down to the basement. They're doing a roam again, and they've lost it 2 times now.
Look at the investment from FaZe though, right? Again, Dockerby, Lion, they know that FNATIC are playing aggressive. They know that FNATIC's whole goal is trip them up in the early rounds. They don't have the tools or the resources to invest in a really good execute later in the round. It's paid off sometimes, a lot of times it hasn't, and that's why we find ourselves at a spot where FNATIC is staring down the barrel of a 4-2 half here. Not a good spot to be in. This EE1D coming out and phone call, it follows.
Yeah, this is where the pressure's now going to mount for FNATIC. Ruby inside a kitchen, he's going to have to move himself or he's going to be taken out. Cyber is getting himself inside of the building. Handy's on support just to watch for any of those rotates. They're looking to get FNATIC moving as much as possible, and this is why. As soon as Groovy moves, Cyber's there. FaZe have got all the angles covered, and there we see Jaxu. They've no idea that they've been pinged out. It's dangerous. The shadow gives him away, and Cyber takes him down. 4 versus 3, and FaZe are starting to look like they've really found their feet on Nighthaven.
And once again, we've got exactly the same problem. Deepek is on site. His 2 roamers are isolated away from him with FaZe Clan in the middle because they keep entering on that middle floor. They're not worried about the top floor whatsoever. Jegs can do whatever he wants on the boss G, but he's nowhere near the action.
They've really tried hard to make this work time and time again, but Jegs has not been able to find any success on this vigil. almost to a degree that FaZe aren't super worried about it. Of course, it only takes it to slip the net here and find a couple of players before everything's turned back. But here we go, he's under fire already, as you can see. And FaZe are starting to close it around him. One in front, one towards the right. Another round where he's simply offering nothing, unfortunately.
Absolutely beautiful stuff from Cyber there, just hitting the wall with the skeleton key. That's what he could be on for an ace here. He's looking for it, that much is for sure. 1 versus 3, Deepak is there. Handy will snatch it away from Cyber, but FaZe won't care. They get another round, 4-2 on the attack, and they are sitting pretty to keep themselves in this all the way to day 5.
Bad decision, really bad decision to go back down to the basement. It's where FaZe have looked the most convincing. Certainly the second time they attacked it, and again on the third time. I think compounded by another bad decision. They banned the Twitch. I thought it was going to be good. But they didn't play behind it. Banning the Dokkaebi would have been a lot better.
Well, Maria's down in the playing area to go and find out what's going on down there. Maria, what have you got for us?
Hey, hello. So I'm here in the player booth. Now we have the tactical pause called by FNATIC, and the mood here is very intense. The players are now only starting to react to it. So I saw the Deepak's face at something. It was happening on the round, and he was like, oh man, you know, something is going wrong for FNATIC right now. While FaZe Clan is just very concentrated, but not all smiles. So yeah, the air is very dense right now, and I will be nervous too playing because, you know, our life depends on it. FNATIC, if they lose, they're out, and also FaZe Clan. But you know, they are all very concentrated right now.
Very much, Maria, and I think you're pretty spot on there. FaZe, even when they win the round, you haven't seen, you know, jubilant celebrations. For them, it kind of feels like we're here to do a job and we're getting it done.
Well, I think they're probably, you know, recognizing that they've had a tough tournament so far, and it's not really a time to be jumping and you know, you're avoiding elimination from the tournament. You don't celebrate just yet. You get in there and get the job done. That's going to be FaZe's first and last focus.
I think we've got to look at these bans from FaZe as well. Very targeted against FNATIC, it feels.
Yeah, I think so. I think FNATIC don't necessarily have a dedicated Shield player. They certainly don't have, you know, somebody of the caliber of a Spirits or an Aniton, so, or even a Vita King. So Shields aren't the immediately obvious ban. Obviously Blackbeard's really good, but an execute operator for FNATIC, take it off the board. It's free intel in the Grim. I really like it from FNATIC's point of view. They've banned away the Cade and the Azami. Now, one big weakness, I'd say, from FNATIC is actually teams that sit still against them and don't go out and fight them. Azami enables that. It gives you layers to work through as attackers, so I can completely understand from FNATIC's sake why they've got rid of it straight away.
It's also going to help them get access to that warehouse catwalk that we speak about so much. It's the Azami that usually plays up there, gets those keeper barricades out. You couple that with a bit of barbed wire and as much utility as you can to try and keep hold of it. As it is, Souls is going to be playing behind the mirror window there, but that is going to be the limit of FaZe's defenses out there. So definitely an opportunity for FNATIC to work in towards taking catwalk later in the round. For now, they've focused on that connector side.
Just looking at the composition here from FNATIC, they're going to have to approach this execute in a man advantage because they've brought double breacher, they've brought the Ash for the mirror windows, Nomad for the flanks, and Jegs to try and get those kills. There's no execute utility. Obviously, Grim's off the board. There's no Ying, there's no Capto, nothing like that.
Leo is showing me something in it. It's very, very confusing.
I think it was related. Your phone's
flipped, mate. We haven't got a clue.
I think that said SSG out.
Wow, okay. Another one that bites the dust.
And just very quickly on that for the viewers at home, that does mean that we will be putting 5 teams through today based on the reload standings.
Which could be interesting. We were looking at a potential, you know, FNATIC win. Putting them up to 15 puts them into 5th place. There is Dark Zero and Fury to play, so there's lots of other things to happen there. I'm not saying FNATIC, you know, go through, but even if they don't, with 15, it's going to leave them kind of towards the top for tomorrow.
It would be 16, because whoever loses this is eliminated, so they get the bullets
very
they reloaded, the bullets they have, and the additional from the passive
So it puts them right up there, even if it's not, you know, ending up as a qualification score for today. It is going to leave you very much towards the top of what's left. Groovy manages to take out Vita King 5 versus 4. It's been a little bit of a quiet round so far for the first 2 minutes, but Cyber is going to level that up with a trade, and FNATIC are still just working from that connector and IT side.
That Cyber being downstairs as well is a bit of a menace down there, to be honest with you, Tim. He got him through the soft flooring with the explosion that opened everything up, and there's no doubt trying to slip out for some more. In fact, maybe coming up behind them here, Tim. He just worked his way out towards meeting, but but FNATIC have exploded forward. They realised that a player was away from the action. He's coming in. Jex was looking for him, but he's got him covered. Jaxu into another. FNATIC with a dominant first attack.
I thought they didn't know. I thought they didn't know. The mirror had got a kill from below. I didn't think they had the flank on lock. Luckily they did. And again, FNATIC getting those couple of kills in the mid round meant they could execute in man advantage. Had that have got down to a 5 versus 5 for the execute, don't think they win that. So it was great work from them to get to that position.
A lot of the call was there, really. There's a player off site, he's below, go, 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 and those 2 kills that spill on through just open everything up for them.
So
again, really convincing. Good stuff.
The reason I thought that they were going to assume the mirror was still below is because it was a mirror that got a kill. Obviously, mirror usually has a C4. Actually, it was mirror with the beep boop alarms. So I thought they were just not holding the flank, assuming the mirror was going to stay below.
Cyber goes where he pleases, Fresh.
Luckily, they had it. That's all I'm saying, because I was seeing Cyber just cleaning up.
Would have been terrifying. I don't know if he was caught on a drone or what on the way back through, but all that matters is he was just that, caught out. And it's good for Jax to get a couple of kills on the board. As said, he's been a little bit slow in that first half. Now on the Deimos, has become a little bit more lethal. On an operator like that, Tim, I really feel like you've got to be finding kills and contributing.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. It's almost another vigil there where it's, you know, the utility that's being brought is really focused around that operator, around that player, and so they've got to be getting some value out of it themselves. FNATIC, they're going to be attacking onto the basement this time. Fresh, this is going to be a little bit different for them. Last time they were able to, you know, look at what the setup is, get there onto site and just push from that 1 point. Here I would expect to see FaZe around the map a little bit. Yeah. We've got Handy up on the top floor, a couple on the mid floor. Much more of a job for FNATIC to control FaZe here.
Yeah, I would say so. Again, it's going to be about clearing out the roamers, clearing out the top 2 floors. However, I will say, difference in FNATIC's approach already, as you can see on your screen, is going to be DPEG opening up the walls with that maverick. We saw FaZe leave these walls open, leave these walls closed all together in their entirety, whereas FNATIC maybe are going to put a little bit of pressure direct at the same time.
A bit of sync here, I think, as well. Groovy rocking up at the same time. Now, it's nades in hand, so if they wanted to roll it underneath them, they could. They can find a bandit battery, and sure enough, found, which means they go straight with the hard breach charge. No need for the Maverick to worry about wasting loads of gas to get this open. That can be redirected if needs be towards the main wall.
So I think what FNATIC are going for here, instead of clearing the roam, is I think what they're going to do is maybe look to do something direct into this Exo side here, into Animus side here. What they need to do for that is they need to stop defenders being on the hatch of the room of the Animus breach. To do that, you need to control warehouse.
Got Jex is here for as well with that scan upstairs, just in case Cyber is looking to be a little bit cheeky. Ruby's going to find Vidiking, and they've exploded in towards site here. They said, forget about Animus, we want the whole damn thing on the downstairs. KDS gets his first kill of the game, back on the other way. It's into a 4v4.
The big problem for FNATIC is that FaZe know they've got the diffuser down cold on the ground inside of site. KDS manages to pick up Groovy 3 versus 3. FNATIC Sarks has managed to make a grab for that diffuser, and he's putting it down. And I don't think FaZe are in a position to do anything about this. They don't know that he's going to stick it. And FaZe, they've been caught too far away from sight. Left out in the cold. Souls finds Sarks. 2v2. 30 seconds left to go. Cyber turns it on. And FaZe, what a retake.
They were done such a good job of keeping Cyber at bay. They flooded site, wanted to wipe out everyone on FaZe, but these 2 roamers have come back and shut it down. Fresh, that feels like a 3rd round this game that FNATIC should have had, and they've bottled it when it counts.
It doesn't feel like it. It is, Des. That's exactly what it is, and I've called him out for a couple of times already, but Grubby again.
You are lucky that cup was empty.
I'm throwing cups around all over the casting station. My arms are flailing everywhere. Grubby was in a great position. And again, once you're in sight and you're rushing, you're making defenders come back into you. What is he doing? Challenging with a shotgun there. He knew where the player was. That guy's going to be running around. You're in sight. You've exploded into sight. He's nervous. He doesn't know what's going on. And Grubby losing that 1v1, unfortunately, has lost FNATIC the round. Of course, FaZe did a great job of retaking it as well. But yeah, no, it's small decisions and it's aggressive decisions, which FNATIC are clearly, you know, that's their ethos as a team. They want to take the fight to FaZe. It's now lost them 3 rounds. They'd be on match point right now had they have made the correct decisions in all of those rounds.
And all that chat we had at the start about, can you imagine a world where FNATIC beat FaZe would be like, I can't believe they're a round away from doing it.
For the most part, they've been better than FaZe.
They have, I'd agree. They've played FaZe off the park a little bit here. You wouldn't consider that FaZe are also a team facing elimination here if they lose out.
Wow.
It kind of feels a little bit like FaZe are doing just as much work as they need to. and not an awful lot more. It's like, you know, yeah, okay, you've got the defuse. Right, okay, we'll win the round now. You know, we're not going to worry about it for the first 2 minutes, but we're going to win the round now.
You know what it is? No, it's more that Cyber heard that me and you have got him in our fantasy team.
Must be.
Well, they're just trying to funnel everything towards
I
him
have to hear about this fantasy team one more time.
You're going to hear about it far more, mate, trust me. I'll let you know how it goes later. Exactly how many points he's farmed for me, the whole lot.
Yeah.
Control and storage will be the site for round 9. FaZe completing that rotation, much as you described earlier, Fresh. We're going to see a similar approach from FNATIC. Get that RT wall open.
Yep.
They'll likely have a little bit of a drone downstairs. It seems to be a bit of a choice whether you open the double wall down into the basement or not. It does prevent that vertical denial of a plant from underneath if you're going to go for a pillar spot, but it depends if that is your target point or not.
Once again, FNATIC bringing a lineup that is very much focused on getting those walls open and then clearing out FaZe. That it's not focused on can we do anything execute-wise in sight. Again, things like the Ying, the Glaz, the smokes, Capitals, none of that whatsoever. And again, nothing, you know, for example, like the Lion or the Dokkaebi, it's all focused on, I would say, traditional siege. Breaching, getting walls open, taking away utility.
Just out there with the Melusi being taken away by Jaxu, shot out as well as the drone. No more of that hacking business going on. Everything else should largely stay up. And I tell you what, Deepek's been brought down here. Cyber went out after him, and he's done just that. Nyan unstoppable today, but Jaxu is there for the assist. Still a 1-for-1. You lose your hard breach. It doesn't feel like the end of the world here because they've already got this carriage breach opened up, but it's not good to lose a gun. A good trade coming in. Jaxu involved in 2 inside the space of 10 seconds.
Yeah, FNATIC looking good so far. Like you say, losing Deepek at that point, really not the end of the world. RT's already open, Garage is already open, Exothermics have done their job, so they can live with that. Demos scan is going to be in as well. Jegs knows exactly where Vidaking is at the moment, at the bottom of Aqua Stairs. Is he going to go for the challenge? Yes, he will. Manages to spray him down with the Vendetta. And each time that FaZe take a round, FNATIC seem to come back better in the next. They seem to have an answer handy. Manages to find Sarks. 1v3 becomes a 1v2.
Surely not, Tim. We can't see this happen again here, but you've just got a feeling the Handy could find the way through. Yeah, there are scans coming in from Jegs here, so they know exactly where he is. But for now, he's like an angel of death. No! How does it happen again? You speak it into existence sometimes, but FNATIC are leaving the door wide open for FaZe again and again.
A 1v3. Andy had a Demos track. The death mark was active, but the only death mark that was going on was the death finding FNATIC. That was unreal from Andy, but FNATIC again, add it to the list, add it to the bill. How many rounds now have they given away that should have been won?
4.
They couldn't possibly have played that worse, by the way. Absolutely not. The reason I was actually going to praise FNATIC, I was setting myself up to praise them on that attack. They had no idea where Handy was. That's why they were triple stacking on the one player that was on the Deimos ping during that round in that 3 versus 2. Loved it. They got it to a 3 versus 1. I'm thinking, great. Now you just need to trade each other out. You'll win the round. As soon as they tracked Handy, it was just really, really bad in the late round.
They can't hear me. Okay. All right, boys, listen, you've dominated the game, yeah? Let's not fucking get bitchy at each other now, yeah? We need to fucking have our spirits high here, boys. We've dominated the game. We've thrown a few rounds. All right, whatever. Speak about the fucking bans that have come out now, boys. Think about what they want to stop you doing, yeah? The information game for us has been really fucking good, guys. If Jags can't play the Demos, let's take an extra operator for that, okay? Let's figure out what they're doing because they're running around like fucking crazy, guys. We're finding gaps everywhere, yeah? Finding gaps everywhere. They're making desperate plays. Mute jumping out a fucking sight window. We refrag onto him. The garage guy, we refrag onto him. We just have to calm it down. And Michael, when we get into those situations, okay? When the round is won, we calm it down, guys. Serious calmness, yeah? But keep fucking playing with good energy, guys. Come on, let's win this shit.
We fucking got this, guys. Let's get a stash.
Did you have any words there except expletives? I don't think I did.
I was going to try and quote him. I don't think I can. What I will say again is he talked about the throws. I just want to finalize the one on the throw with in that previous round. The worst thing that they could have done was Jegs, whilst he was on a Deimos track, stack up with the diffuser, and that's exactly what he did. That's why Handy was able to find 1, find 2. If Jegs was the other side of site and Jaxu was the other side of the other bomb site, the plant could go down for free.
Everything he said, though, is very right.
It's exactly what I was saying. They've dominated this game. They've just thrown so many late rounds.
It's such a shame for them if they go out on this as well, because all that will be remembered is they got battered by FaZe, 7-3 on the last day. not many will talk about the quality they've shown at points throughout this game. And don't get me wrong, this is not the best form FaZe that we've seen either. They look a bit asleep at the wheel here. It's really weird to be able to say that about FaZe. Again, world champions, but we spoke about this at the start of the game. Very often you see hammer lifters at the next tournament just not perform to the standard that you saw from them that helped them lift that hammer in the first place. But FNATIC, they're their own worst enemy. They're beating themselves here.
And I think that will be the most frustrating thing. Unfortunately, you know, winning 3 rounds, getting yourself into overtime against FaZe is a colossal task attacking Nighthaven now. If FNATIC go out, they're going to be really kicking themselves because it was all in their hands. It's not particularly like they're being outclassed right now. They've changed themselves onto Jegs on the Monty. As Tristan predicted, the Deimos ban did come in.
Sometimes when you get to that match point and the shield gets brought out, the Monty gets brought along, it feels like a little bit of a desperation pick sometimes.
I mean, Jax has gone from Deimos to playing shields. Like, what a change,
you know,
right?
it's kind of, and I get it, the Deimos gets banned away, you bring your next spearhead, you bring your next focal point, but when it's the match point, it always just feels a bit like, right, let's try and throw the Monty at the problem and see if we can solve it. Hopefully FNATIC, it does go that way for them, but it ain't looking good. Cyber deals with the Monty, and right now, FNATIC, you're on the back foot. You got 4 lives left. After that, you're out of reload.
Sarks is underneath as well. I think looking to help them get the push forward here. Now going to rejoin them up on the top floor, and it starts to feel a little bit one-dimensional. All the focus is on this connector, and I'm not sure it's going to be what they need to get the job done.
Especially on this top floor of Nighthaven, you need multi-prong attacks. You can't just come from one place because the defenders will just front it up. They can just stay in this close quarters combat. You see the Melusi there close to the connector breach. You see the Goyo inside of a very, very small, compact room.
Looking real tepid now. Again, just round after round. What could have been for FNATIC will be the question. They hold themselves, but not many will remember. KDS, we know, has had a pretty poor game, and Groovy reminds me of that fact. Slams him down to 44 as the call from Sarks rings out here. Smoke to at least keep FNATIC at bay for now, though, Tim. Can they hold them back? There's 2 stacking up on the door. Could be a double shotgun kill coming through, but no, Handy with just the 1.
Deepak really wants to get this wall open. He is now going to be able to achieve that. A little bit of damage has been done. Handy continues with the shotgun. 3 versus 2. FaZe finding trades everywhere. Cyber on to Deepak. It's up to Groovy, low health. He gets 1. Can he save FNATIC? 1v2? No, he cannot. Souls is there to close it out, and the world champions keep themselves alive for another game here at Reload.
Barely. I think there, Tim. That's not the performance of a world champion, and not one really that deserves to be careering up the leaderboard, but that is exactly what they've done on the back of Handy and Cyber. They keep themselves in this and send FNATIC home.
When you're a world champion team, it's not about how you perform in the games, in the early rounds of the tournament. It's just about winning them and making sure that you're in the games that matter. That's exactly what FaZe did. It wasn't amazing siege. It wasn't great siege, but they got the job done off the back of 2 huge performances.
Moments of promise there, and I look forward to seeing what FNATIC can deliver during stage 1, but their journey ends here, and so does this game. We'll go to a break, and when we come back, freshly back with the boys to the desk, and they'll break this one down for you.
FaZe Clan is on thin ice, but you know, they just won the game they needed to. And KDS, congratulations. What do you think it was the key to winning that game?
I think the key of this game was Cyber and Handy. They are playing very well. Handy make a clutch, and Cyber are getting a lot of open kills for us. So I think this is the strength of today, and hopefully we are going to qualify to playoffs.
Are you nervous? You're shaking your leg or no?
No, just anxious. Ansiedade, como fala?
Anxious, and so
a little bit. So
anxious about like not qualifying, you say? Because I mean, FaZe Clan is not qualified yet, but winning the game it helps you.
I think is what everyone feels about the game. We want to qualify very quickly, and we started the tournament very bad. So I think this makes us a little bit nervous to play. So I think this is the
It's normal, right? It's very normal. Let's talk about the map. You guys picked the Night Heaven Labs, and it's really such a great map of FaZe Clan. So it was such a bold move from FNATIC. You were just so comfortable. Cyber was laughing, like just really relaxed. Talk more about the map.
I think this map we chose this map because we scrim with FNATIC in last days.
Okay.
So I think this map they think will be good because in the scrim is a close game, and hopefully we won. So next time don't pick labs against us.
No, that's fine. No, that's fine. Grub and Dipek just passing by the camera. That's fine. You have another match tomorrow. You're not qualified yet. What are you guys going to focus to get better?
I think we are going to focus on the same things we are doing so far. We are trying to communicating better every match. So I think this is the main problem we are having.
You think you're communicating less than you should, or it's just like disorganized?
Yeah, a little bit disorganized because it's the start of the tournament. Normally, FaZe start to communicate very well in the playoffs because it's best of 3 and it's another word. So, yeah, I think this is the problem.
Okay, congratulations. And you know what? It means a disorganized communication, it's farofa. Eles estão farofando. That's what it means, Milosh. You can say that on the next match if you want.
I'm not even going to attempt to say
I'm not going to try either.
Yeah, maybe we can record that at some point. Anyway, we have some language classes to take with Maria. 16 bullets is what FaZe Clan run away with at the end of this matchup. And what a game. You thought it would be back and forth, and then FaZe took control.
It was theoretically back and forth, but it was like, I guess, back with FNATIC for the first 2 minutes of the game, and then forth for the last 30 seconds. It was basically a story of FNATIC finding a way to impressionate us. Basically, we were impressed by them over, I guess, being better than FaZe throughout most of the rounds, and then yet, consistently, every single round, they found a way to lose it.
I'm still speechless, I'll be honest.
They're out. FNATIC are out.
Speechless. Like you said, FNATIC really did control that game against FaZe Clan on Night Haven Labs, but FaZe Clan were just so good in the late round, and it was 2 big individuals, let's be honest. It was Cyber, and then it was Handy, with big moments that literally dragged FaZe Clan over the line.
I want to praise FNATIC, though. I want to praise FNATIC because they were close to beating FaZe. I know it looks like 7-3, and it is a 7-3, but in the end, you have to manage expectations. When we saw this matchup, we knew that FNATIC were not in a position to be favorites, right? Everybody was betting on FaZe for sure to take this home. Let's be real. What happened here was FNATIC being much better than the scoreline actually shows, and it's giving us good hopes for this team comes EML time to show us more of this.
Absolutely. We kind of are coming in with like no expectations of what FNATIC can show, and yes, they might be eliminated in round 4, but the games that they showed, there's a spark that we can exploit into EML.
And you know what? Fair play for having the balls to put it all on the line against FaZe.
That's fair.
They should have won, they didn't, but fair play to them.
It was an entertaining game regardless of that. And reminder again, FaZe Clan 16 bullets. However, our detail for this game, what was it here, Leo?
We're going to look at Cyber attacking right now.
Good.
Obviously on Buck, 1 year ago he was the best Buck player. Well, it's still the case. Let's take a look at how he's anti-roaming here in that round 1. He's going to get a free opening on Sarks, roaming upstairs, because that's just him. He gets always the right game sense, right? Look at his second kill. For this is the detail for me. He's getting challenged by Jaxu. Jaxu sees him before, he shoots before, yet Cyber gets away with the kill, drops, and kills the final player. Now, that was a 3v3. The defense was at the advantage. Jaxu saw him first. In any day of the week, against any other player, FNATIC wins that round. But it's Cyber against him, and the flick on the headshot is the detail for me that only the top 1.0001% can do, and that's Cyber for you on Buck.
There's a reason why FaZe are world champions and they have so much pedigree internationally. However, at times this did feel like not just a game, but a game of throws.
Absolutely. That first round, for me, was the start of the story for the rest of the round, Jack.
Oh, honestly, this round in particular, Grubby challenging with the shotgun. I had no idea what was going on. I think plant spot maybe not the best as well, but it's in that chaos of the mid round. But look at this, in the late rounds, it's always the attackers challenging the defenders in the post plant. That's not how it's supposed to go, Leo.
Everyone is panicking, everyone is running around. Even in this scenario here, why is Sack challenging here at this window when he doesn't need to? He doesn't have a trade potential. That makes no sense. Then you have the Demos tracker, you know where he is. You know you can go for the plant at the same time. Instead of that, they're panicking, they're running around. The vert created by the Frost can then be used. First kill, second kill, impossible to trade. Well played by Handy, but again, what a throw.
That one for me, if you're in a 1 versus 2 and you've got the Deimos, the one thing you don't do when you're the 2 is go close together. And that's exactly what FNATIC did. If one was in the west side of storage and one was in the east side of control, it would have been 2 1v1s, plant could have gone down. It was...
In summary,
Game of Throws.
Round 1 was a throw, and that started throughout the tournament, throughout the match, sorry. Every single round that FNATIC had the advantage, they just gave it away. And that's just a sad story, because once again, there are some young players, there are some promising players on
What could
FNATIC.
it been?
So you go home, but you go home with our praises. You're a good team. Stop throwing, please. Thank you.
Yeah, you even heard it in the timeout there that Tristan called. Yeah, I told everybody to quiet down in the green room to hear exactly what he's saying. And I know you couldn't say exactly and repeat it on the screen, but regardless, I think he was quite clear in what had happened. FNATIC, we say goodbye to them. FaZe Clan live to fight another day. Perhaps we'll see how things kind of shape up, but all that is after the break for our final game.